Good morning, Nicky.
Good morning. Morning.
Good morning, Nicky.
Hello. Good morning.
Thanks very much for joining us. I know you're on the route to Cheltenham, and obviously in relation to one of the targets, the champion hurdle, you've got Vanateur, who's running today, and that will give you a clearer impression whether it is a champion hurdle horse, I guess. That
is exactly right. We'll find out today if he has any pretensions of being that, to be fair, because, he's got to run under his belt, and we do get some weight off the new one today, which you're not going to get in a Grade 1. So it's if we're ever going to take him on, it's got to be today. And, that might establish where we stand as far as those sort of races are concerned in the future.
And has the horse come on from Cheltenham in your view, Nicky?
You'd like to think so. He's been in good form. I would have preferred... We just had an awful lot of rain on Thursday night, which unfortunately has turned this ground into... It's going to be testing. I think there'll be plenty of pace in the race, and they'll go quick enough. It might that'll probably help the new one more than it'll help us in this ground. But, no, he's very well. And, yes, I'd definitely say he's come on for his run in Cheltenham the last time. But it's still a stiff task today.
Well, you've got Zandyman obviously make the pace there. You've got an interesting runner at Doncaster, Peace & Co, which we were talking about earlier. Can you say a little about that horse? Because obviously it ran well in France.
He's only run once. So he's sort of short on experience, got a penalty already. So, I like him a lot. He's a lovely big scopy horse. He's done everything very nicely at home, but now we've got to see that we can translate it to the racecourse. That was a good performance when he won. And we've just got to see. We've got to hope they race yet. But I'll be very interested to see how he goes. I like him a lot.
OK, and we've got Eric and Vanateur today as well. Presumably you're expecting a good run and a drop back in distance for Vanateur after being behind us Booston last time.
Yeah, I think he won very well over 2.5 the first time. And he was very impressive, and not surprising, the handicapper clobbered him. So I had to go and run in the 3-mile brush hurdle at Haydock with a penalty before he was reassessed. And it might just have come a little bit quick, but also, I know Barry and I both felt that 3 miles might just have tested his stamina a bit. And I think we're coming back to a more realistic trip. He's handled soft ground before, so that probably for him isn't quite as big an issue as it is for some of our others today. But, he is taking on a former champion hurdle winner, which is always going to be difficult.
And you've got Hargan running the first at Cheltenham, which is probably what you're going to get there really early for the first couple of races. And Hargan, terrific run at Cheltenham again.
He was very good that day. He did everything right. Just looked if he just got a bit tired in the last 100 yards, which I suspect he was entitled to do. It was his first run since he'd come from France. Actually went back to Ireland where he was gelded, and so he'd had a fair break. And he's a very likeable horse. He's very straightforward, but he's probably quite stuffy. I would expect him to come on for that run, yes. And as long as he jumped very well that day, if that all holds together, it's a very competitive race again today. But he'd have he's got a very realistic start.
And just a couple of things, obviously, because Christmas around the corner, it's going to be very, very busy for you. You've got a couple of entered over the Christmas period. Blue Fashion beat that in the long walk. Simonsig and Merfaleur in the King George. Have you decided which one of those yet, or are you still sort of deciding?
We're still a little bit undecided. I don't think Merfaleur will go to the King George, I must admit. And Simonsig, we're up against the clock a little bit there. So we could easily sort of not be taking part in that this year.
OK. Bobsworth to the Lexus, Nicky, that's the plan?
We were very pleased with us this morning, and I'd say that, I must say, if you'd asked me yesterday, I'd have said he might be pushed to get there, but we were happy with him this morning, and he's more likely to run today than he was yesterday. OK, and one final question, Declan.
Hiya, Nicky. Yeah, Nicky, I was hoping you could just give us an update into novice chasers of yours, Jossies Hill and Wisper, please.
Jossies Hill, yeah, he's good. He schooled yesterday, as did Wisper, and they both worked this morning. Jossies Hill, I have got him in at Ascot next Saturday. and I would think there's a fair chance he would run in that. He's coming along very well. We had a blip earlier on in the year with a splint, but that's all dealt with. And he's going nicely, actually. Barry Garrity rode him this morning. Wisper, he's taken a bit of time to come to hand, but he schooled well yesterday, and I was pleased with his work this morning.
And I'm afraid you always get this question asked all the time, but we've got to ask you, in terms of Sprinter Sacre, how are we with Sprinter Sacre?
Again, this morning was very good and very encouraging.
Okay, any plans before the year's out? Or?
No, we're still saying that he'll have a racecourse gallop before he has a race. So I don't think you're going to... I mean, I would have thought the Victor Chandler is the realistic race if all goes well, but we were encouraged today, very much so.
OK, well, Nicky, thank you very much for joining us this morning. And the most important thing is that all the horses come back safe and sound. And obviously, we'd like to give you our deepest sympathy for last week with Oscar Whiskey. But thanks very much indeed for joining us this morning.